everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Tried and Tested podcast. I am your host, Tracey. And if you're not familiar with this podcast, it's literally everything about dating and relationships that you can think about. Making up, breaking up, finances, food, money. Anyway, just anything relationship oriented. And so today I have a special guest, my boo Tiffany. Say hey, girl.
Hey, everybody.
So thank you so much for being here with us today. And this is actually an interesting kind of podcast episode because typically most of the episodes come from conversations that I have with my friends or conversations that kind of like happen, I guess, in my mind when it comes to relationships and dating. So this particular topic today, which is how to let a man know you're interested, came from one of my previous episodes where, you know, some men felt like it was okay for the woman to let the man know that she was interested in him. So for me, I was just kind of like, I didn't really like that because I honestly feel like the way that I was raised and the way that I've grown up and what I know and what works for me, and we'll get into that a little bit more, but it's just like the man will let me know he's interested or the man will, you know, shoot his shot. And then from there, the ball is in my court to kind of make my decision on how I want to operate. So when me and Tiffany was having a conversation the other day, she was trying to school me. And so I was like, wait, we got to put this on the podcast. So here we are. So yes. All right. So basically, Tiffany, so just, I guess as we begin, so you feel like it is okay for a woman to essentially let a man know she's interested, give him the green light, and even ask a man out, correct? Or not?
Absolutely.
Maybe I didn't get that right.
I absolutely think it's okay. And it's not on some, you know, super alpha woman I'm trying to take over and anything like that. I just feel like I think we put too much emphasis on how dating is supposed to work. And I know traditionally we keep getting taught that the male has to approach you, the male has to express interest, but what I've learned is males are just as timid and shy sometimes as females, and I think all this who talks to who first is based on like surrounding this ego thing with this fear of rejection that we kind of have to let go of. I just don't see the harm in saying hello to someone or just asking someone if they want to hang out. We're not asking someone to get married. We're not asking to have kids. We're just simply showing interest in saying, hey, I would like to get to know you. Nothing crazy.
But I feel like the fear of rejection is it's a major factor. Like, it's a major key because I feel like if I don't know that you like me, like, okay, so rewind. I don't think that I go out and about and I see somebody and be like, I like him. I want to talk to him. Like, that's not really how I operate because I don't really go out looking for men, shall I say. But I go out, well, not now, but back in the day, I would go out with the purpose of, all right, I'm going to get dressed real nice. I'm going to look a certain way, and I'm going to go to this party or this lounge or this whatever, this cookout, and whoever decides they're interested in me, they'll come, and then I can kind of make the decision, right? But as far as rejection, like, I don't like the idea of me stepping out and being like, well, and we're going to talk about what exactly you mean as far as, like, what do you say to them? How does that work? But I don't even like the idea of me making the first move because I feel like if you like me, why can't you just say it? You know what I mean? Or not?
I guess for me, it's like I don't like that we make it for someone else to decide if we're chosen. Because to me, that's what it makes it seem like. It's like we're waiting to be chosen. And I think that's so, I think that puts us at a disposition to somebody else. I don't like that. It's like sometimes I feel like we can equally have the power to say this is what I want or I see something and I want to go for it. And it's not to say that it shouldn't be a power play. I feel like ultimately everybody's looking for someone to match with and who makes the first move, like who cares? And I get it can be scary because nobody wants to know, but at the same time, But at the same time, we have relationships with people that don't work out. We apply for jobs that we don't get. We do a lot of things that we get no's for, and we keep it moving. And this is going to be the same thing. It's just like ultimately most people are only going to be with one person for the rest of their life.
Mhm.
In an ideal situation, not including, some other situations that might happen, but ultimately you're just looking for that one. So everybody else eventually is going to be a no, whether it's through a breakup or y'all date for a few months and don't vibe. It's eventually going to be a no until you get to that one person that is your forever person. So what difference does it make if it's a no in day one or a no 2 years later? Everybody's not going to work for you, and that's fine. You're not meant to match with everybody, and that's okay. Like, I think we have to take that context out of play to where we're just expecting that we have to match with everybody. That's just not realistic. So if someone says no, then you talk to somebody else. I mean, for me, it's just like, it's that simple. It's like I've had to get out that fear in my head about someone rejecting me or saying no. Like, everybody's not made for me, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine.
So, okay. I'm really just sitting here I'm dumbfounded because I just know that this is something that I don't do. So I remember back in the day, right? Of course, when you're talking to your homegirls and you're like, oh, I like this man. Because back in the day, I used to see people and be like, oh, I have a crush on them, right? And I would be super scared to tell them. But this was high school. So this was high school up to first year of college, right? And during that time period, if I were to tell someone that I liked them, unfortunately, they wasn't feeling me. And this would be people that I just knew. I'm talking about we was talking every day. Not all of them. Some of them was just I had a crush on you and I would let them know and I still didn't get no man from it. But I remember one in particular, this was my friend kind of, and we would talk so much. And I'm like, okay, it's facts. I'm feeling him. I know he's feeling me too. And then when I told him, bruh, he was in deep. He was just I don't even remember what he said. And obviously, if I'm saying the first semester of college, this was in 2005 and before, because I'm grown. But now we're in 2020 and that's 15 years have passed. And I still refuse to because I feel maybe I'm reading it wrong. Maybe I can't tell, that whole thing. But I've definitely been shut down. I've definitely given my number out and whoop, they never called me, that kind of thing. So I was just you know what? I don't think that this is meant for me to do. Maybe it works for other people, but it's just not my whole forte. But I want you to kind of, I guess, elaborate on two things. Because one, you said that, okay, if they're not interested, you just get over it. So how does it work for you when it comes to rejection? How do you get over it? And then the next part of the question would be, what is the process of letting somebody know? How does that work? What do you do? What do you say? What does that look like?
So I guess for me, for one, I definitely had the same thought process growing up and dating initially to where I was very shy. I didn't want to make the first move, so I was just expecting for the guy to do everything. For him to approach me, for him to show interest, I was going off of his lead. And that's how I dated. But as I got older, and in particular after I had a really bad breakup, I just kind of had this epiphany moment. I'm like, why am I giving someone else all this power? And it also was for me as a way to kind of build my confidence back up after a really bad breakup. And also I just realized that everything is not going to work out. And just because you and a person don't match or don't mix, it doesn't mean that that's not the end of the world. That's not really a rejection per se. It's just guiding yourself to the person that you're supposed to be with. And you won't know unless you try to give the opportunity to get to know people or to try to approach people. Like I said, we're not asking for these grand gestures. We're not asking for a marriage proposal or anything. We're just simply saying, hey, you seem like somebody I might be interested in. Let me see what's going on with this. And I just kind of really made it that simple for myself. So I would just, I saw somebody, even I done stood in the DMs before. I seen somebody who I thought was, an interesting person. I might just slide in on one of their pictures. Oh, what kind of dog is that in your picture? Just make conversation. Just open the dialogue. It's some simple stuff. It's not a big grand gesture. It's just, hey, how's your day going? Or introducing yourself. Because everything either doesn't have to be romantic because you don't even know if you're going to end up vibing with that person. You might think that you're attracted to that person, but you might walk away with a potential business partner, not a boyfriend maybe, but you never know what the dialogue could lead into. So it's like we have to take out everything as being like such a big thing. It's like I think in our head we project so much stuff on like this initial interaction that we just need to take out the equation.
Okay, so but what you're saying though is not really, like, I don't feel like that's actually approaching a man. Like you're just saying that, okay, I mean, obviously beginning a conversation first is some type of, you know, something, but it's kind of like, I'm talking about as far as like when do you, or what do you say when you want to actually get to know them better? Like when do you kind of just like, look, cut the crap, listen, I'm feeling you, or I like you, or I want to, like, you know, how does that process work right then and there where you're actually letting him know, you're making it clear?
For me, is I'll kind of gauge the response. It's like just starting a conversation, maybe flirting a little bit, seeing if they kind of pick up a vibe from there, or just saying like, hey, would you like to hang out, or what do you have going on for the weekend? Do you want to hang out, or just it's very simple for me. It's just like I don't make it like a super grand gesture, but it's like I might be a little bit more flirtatious, or just trying to gauge the conversation. Normally, if you open up a conversation with a guy, they'll naturally you're naturally either going to vibe or some kind of chemistry will pick up, and you'll be able to kind of gauge each other. But like I said, a lot of times guys are equally scared to approach women, so it's not that they're not interested. It's just that, like I said, they don't know your situation. They don't know if you have a boyfriend. They might just be shy. They're also scared of rejection. So you just never know. Sometimes they're just waiting for an opportunity to open for them to say something as well. So that's all it is, just making an opportunity, whether it's just a slight conversation or just like, hey, I found you attractive, or would you be interested in hanging out sometime? And they could either say yes or no.
I mean, that's so. All right, when it comes to rejection for me, like I feel like I just always assume, like I know it's not factual, but I assume that men are not afraid of rejection. I know when me and you had a conversation before, you were like, a guy could try to talk to 20 girls in one day and he may get one person's number, right? But I felt like that just comes with the territory. Like you're a man. This is what you're supposed to do. And it's kind of like some people seem to enjoy the rejection. Like, you know, they be laughing and joking with you and, all right, boo. Like, you know, like it looks like it's fun for them. Like, it's not fun for me because when I think of rejection, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I understand they probably like if I try to get at somebody and they weren't available or they weren't interested or it wasn't the right time, because, I mean, they can decline you for different reasons. In my mind, the way that they're going to do it is going to shatter me. But the reality of it is they probably aren't going to even go that hard. Like, they probably just be like, oh, or they probably won't even answer you, or they probably curve you, like, you know, real, like, nicely or whatever. But for me, when I think of rejection, it's like, heck, Tracey, I don't want to talk to you. Like, you ugly. Like, that's what I get in my mind. Like, they probably going to be mad hyped. They're going to shut me down and be like, nah, boo. And I know that's not going to happen, but that's how I, like, perceive a rejection to be. And so that's why, like, I'm so fearful of it. Like, I just feel like, nah, this ain't for me. Like, I don't see
I
the
think it's
reason
let our
why.
imagination get ahead of ourselves. We create these visions or we play these hypotheticals in our head that most times never happen. And if a guy were to do that, he's whack anyway, and there's probably someone he wouldn't even want to date, period. So that solves a big issue right there in the beginning. Because most of the time, you don't even know what this person is going to be like. This person could be horrible, and you don't even know. You're going off of just a vibe, or he's attractive, or the one or two things you might know, or after a period of time, you think that you get a vibe from him. But y'all might not even get along. Like, he might be a horrible person when it comes to dating. You don't even know. So it's like you're basing and making this big story off of something you don't even know yet.
That's true. Like, creating a whole scenario in your head, which, you know, I used to be really good at that. Like, back in the day, I'm talking about I would create a whole relationship that didn't even occur yet and a breakup all in my mind. So, and that's really, really bad. That's something that, you know, listeners, you guys should not do. So, wow.
Sabotaging that we do not have to do. Because like I said, at the end of the day, it's not to say go and talk to 30 people every day, but it's just like, don't be afraid of going after something that you think that you might be interested in. Like, at the very least, they're either going to say, sure, and y'all get to know each other, and maybe something will happen, maybe it won't. Or they are entitled to say no as well. Like I said, like, you can't expect that you're going to be a match for everybody and vice versa, but we can't take that as a personal attack on ourselves because someone doesn't see us in the same light or doesn't find us attractive or maybe not in the space to date, like that's not a reflection of us personally. Everybody's entitled to their own preferences or I think recently I tried to shoot my shot at someone and he honestly just said, he's like, I'm just finding a place where I'm looking to date. Not that I don't like you, I'm just not ready to pursue you in that way. And that was an honest answer and I was completely okay with that. We've been cool ever since.
Wow. I mean, I guess that's the mature way to do things, right? That's definitely the mature way. I just think that the life that I'm used to and the life that I've been living for so many years is that I don't pay people much attention. Like, even if I'm on the train going to or from work or whatever, oh, excuse me, I might see somebody that's cute, but that's it because I don't know. I mean, this is something that I'm learning and it's going to be a process, but I feel like I'm already grown now. So if I don't do it now, I'm probably never going to do it. But I'm just like I'm so, I guess, what's the word? Like interested in people's point of views because I literally did like a poll question with my friends and I asked men and I asked women and I'm like about this particular topic, like, what do you think? And I was surprised that a lot of women were like, yeah, like if I like him, I'll flirt with him. I'll let him know, like, you know, it is what it is. And I'm just like, wait, because for me, like, I don't even, unless I do know how to flirt, but I don't know I know how to flirt, but I don't think I know how to flirt. And so, yeah.
Everybody says they don't know how to flirt, but they naturally flirt without knowing that you're flirting. I think most people do. Because when you're interested in somebody, you have a crush on somebody, you're definitely a little bit more open. You laugh a little bit more. Your body language is a little bit different. So you're flirting without even knowing that you're flirting. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people think they're not flirtatious, but you naturally are a little bit more comfortable with someone that you're attracted to or someone that you like or have a vibe with. It happens naturally. But that's it definitely didn't. It was something that happened as I got older. I got a little bit more bolder as I got older.
We the same age. We the same age. I'm like 2 weeks older than you.
I wasn't always like this. Like I've definitely always been a flirt, but I definitely would downplay myself. Like, no, you can't talk to him like that, or you will wait for someone to approach you. I definitely was very feminine in my approach for a long time, and I just got over it. I'm like, well, what am I waiting for? Because life is short. We're getting older. Like, and everybody's ultimately looking for the same thing. So it's like, what? And it doesn't say like if you approach a guy first that he's not going to be your man and take you out on a date type thing.
Yeah.
As you know, if you want to put it in that context. Like, I feel like it's just sometimes guys are equally afraid to approach women. I was talking to a friend recently and he was just like that a lot of times they are equally hesitant on approaching women because a lot of times when they do try to approach women, they get the cold shoulder. We give them an attitude or something like that for trying to show interest. So it goes both ways. So they was like, I actually wish that more females would approach men so we can know genuinely when to make a move type thing. Sometimes they just don't want to make a move because they don't want to get rejected either, or they don't want to get the pushback. Sometimes they would like a hint to know, okay, it's okay for me to take her out type thing. And like I said, like I've shot my shot at somebody who I did not even know had a crush on me like whole time. I just genuinely just kind of made my way to his DM and just like saying, hey, I'm interested. Would you like we can hang out sometime? Here's my number. And
what?
He took me out on a date. And we actually dated for like a couple months. So that was just like really awful random. He like one of my pictures and I was just like, hey, how are you? I'm like, hey, we should hang out sometime. Give me a call.
Wow.
And it worked out. And he took me out on a date. It's not like I had to take him out. He was like, well, let me take you out. I'm like, sure.
And that's what one of my guests has spoke about actually. He was saying that, you know, it's okay for women to like kind of like make it known that they're feeling you. And of course the man would still play his role and take you out and so on and so forth. But I don't know. I mean, like, it sounds good and it sounds like so simple, like when you explain it, when any of my other friends have explained it. But I was like, I don't see myself doing it. Like, and I don't know. But I mean,
I think I just stopped being scared of the word no. I stopped being fearful of no. No is not a bad thing. So I think that when I got that in my head that no is not bad, I stopped associating no with bad. It kind of changed my perspective. Another example, this was like a month ago, right before this quarantine thing happened.
Okay.
I had went to happy hour with one of my girlfriends, and the waiter, like, me and him were kind of flirting. And she was like, girl, like, y'all are flirting. I'm like, girl, don't be that. The same thing. You don't think you're flirting, but you're flirting. So at the end of the night, when I paid my bill, I put my number on the receipt. Girl, before I even got home, the guy called me.
Aww, that's so cute. Okay.
Nothing happened after that. Just like it wasn't a good match. We didn't really have a vibe outside of the flirting that we were doing. We just didn't vibe that well. So, I mean, the conversation didn't really go super far. But like I said, like, you just never know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, we are in quarantine right now, so typically on my regular day, I take 3 trains to work from Jersey to New York, and I see a lot of people, and I'm like, you know what? I might try to put this into practice, like one way, some way, because I do see a lot of, I guess I keep thinking of it like I'm being the aggressor, but the reality is I'm just kind of opening up the door to make it look like, you know, that there may be some type of interest. So I'm not ready right now, but I wonder, like, if, you know, I probably just be like, hey, you know, or I also heard, like, if you smile and say hello, like, that's something I've always heard. Like, if you see someone you're attracted to, if you smile and say hello, and I can't even do that much. Like, I cannot. Unless I know that you like me, I'm not doing nothing. I can't give you no hint. But I think I'm working on it little by little. So if I think that you may like me, and you're, like, hitting me up, then, you know, from there I can kind of go. But, wow, this is definitely something I would have to work on. But like I said, I'm so interested, and I love the idea of women just kind of like, yo, it's not a big deal. Like, either it is or it isn't. So, wow.
I just feel like just try it and just see how it goes. Like I said, you don't have to do it looking for anything. And I think taking that out the head too, you're not looking for a husband tomorrow. It's just, you're just saying hi.
Yeah.
He's attractive. You might vibe. And it's just like, you just never know.
Girl, I mean, like I said, I think
at this point,
you're right. There's nothing, you don't have anything to lose, and I guess, like, they're not going to be in your face, oh, no, I don't want you. Like, that's what I keep thinking, but I know that's not the case. But I also feel like it depends on the kind of personality that you have. And for me, if you know me, I have 2 personalities. I have the one that's my regular personality, and then I have the one that deals with men. So, like, literally, it's like 2 different people sometimes. So I'm definitely a work in progress, as grown as I am. But, this conversation was very enlightening to me. I love it. So before we wrap it up though, Tiffany, so if there's any people that are out here, any women, and they're trying to figure out, like, you know, how to approach a man or how to kind of see if he, you know, gauge his interest level, how to kind of open up that door, what advice would you give to a listener?
My best advice is just go for it. Just don't be afraid of the what ifs, what might happen, and make it simple. Don't try to make it bigger than what it is. Just make a slight gesture. Just open a dialogue. Make a conversation. Flirt a little bit. Laugh a little bit. Just to say, hey, there's this concert this weekend, or me and my friends are going out to this festival. Are you down to come out, or something like that? Like, it just doesn't have to be this grand thing. And just kind of take the guesswork out of it, because men are equally having the same issues with dating as far as knowing when they can approach somebody or when someone is interested in them. Like, we're both sides trying to figure it out. So just make it easy for yourself. Just make a conversation. And most times that conversation will create the opportunity for something else if that vibe is there.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I mean, thank you so much for your feedback and, you know, for this information that you taught me and you're teaching other people. So before we go, is there, no, wait, I forgot. My bad. Before we go, is there any way they can contact you on social media? What is your handle, and all of that, so they can kind of reach out to you if they want to?
Yes, I am Miss understood, MSMS understood on Instagram. So feel free to hit me up, follow me, add me, all that good stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for being my special guest for today. And to my listeners, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. And until next time, have a good one.